The JoLynn Braley Show, episode number 214. Get Real, episode number 50. How you are unknowingly paying to stay overweight. Yeah. Hello, welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Yeah, that sounded kind of funny. Hey, this is JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach. I am the founder of the diet that is not a diet. That is the Inner Self Diet. The Inner Self Diet is my proven, proprietary, step-by-step coaching system which ends the struggle. It is super cool, super awesome. It works every time, but it only works for those who do it. It doesn't work for anybody who sits on the sidelines and just listens to me talk about it. The Inner Self Diet ends your emotional eating, it ends your binge eating, it ends your yo-yo dieting, it ends your freaking frustration. And wow, do I ever know how frustrating it can be to keep on struggling with food and your weight. And then you see all those commercials that tell you, oh, just take this pill. Now there's something new out. I've been getting spam in my email inbox about some kind of a chewing gum. I mean, it's just ridiculous, okay? But these things make millions of dollars. Why? Because people really want to believe that they can lose weight without making any changes to what they eat, how they eat, and what kind of lifestyle they live. And, unfortunately, that's how most people are. I hope that you're not like that because it's just going to keep you in the struggle. And, before we go on, today's topic, how you are unknowingly paying to stay overweight. This is a Get Real episode of the JoLynn Braley Show. So you might want to tune out right now and stop this podcast if you are not willing to get real with yourself and really look at what you're creating in your life and in your mind and in your body. The thing is, though, is if you're not willing to get real with yourself right now, then what will happen is you will just keep on struggling. All right? When you avoid looking at yourself and when you avoid looking at your results and you just stay on that hamster wheel of constantly telling yourself that tomorrow will be different, but you really don't even have a plan for how tomorrow is going to be different. You just tell yourself tomorrow will be different. It's kind of the same thing as saying someday my prince will come. But there's no plan, there's no action plan. And the most important action plan that you need, if you really want to end the struggle, is you have to have an inner self action plan. All right? Everyone else is out there, and maybe you're doing it too. They're out there running around looking for a new food diet, a new pill, a new shake, a new cleanse, a new exercise program, a new New Year's resolution that is somehow going to magically change their weight and magically change your circumstances and magically change who you are. But there is no magic, except actually, I do kind of do magic in the Inner Self Diet, but it's not magic. It's the processes and the coaching that I do with my coaching clients that creates a core transformation. I don't teach people in the Inner Self Diet, I don't tell them you need to eat this kind of food to lose weight. I don't tell them that they need to do this kind of a physical exercise to get in shape. That is not what the Inner Self Diet is about. The Inner Self Diet is about changing your core self, changing your beliefs, changing your mindset. That's 92.8% of the challenge. All right? And if you're not willing to really look at a few things today and get real with yourself, you're not going to like this podcast, because we are looking at the topic of how you are unknowingly paying to stay overweight. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're actually paying to stay in the struggle. You're paying to stay overweight. You're paying to continue to yo-yo diet. You're paying to emotionally eat. You're paying to binge eat. You're paying to be in the problem that you're living with right now. And how are you doing this? How are you unknowingly paying to stay overweight? The way that you pay to stay overweight is by refusing to invest in yourself to fix this problem. That's how you're doing it. And now immediately I can imagine you saying, oh, but I am paying to fix this problem. I just bought a new diet book. I paid $25 for a new diet book. Okay. And how do those diet books help you heal the root of your problem? What kind of results are you getting from the things that you have been doing to try to fix your problem so that you can lose weight and keep it off? If you are not investing in yourself financially, time-wise, effort-wise, focus-wise, if you are not investing in yourself to spend the time and the money and the focus and the energy to work with a permanent weight loss coach, someone who knows what they're doing, all right? Not a personal trainer, not a nutritionist, but someone who is doing the deep level work that will set you free from the struggle. The work like I do. If you are not investing the time, the money, the focus, and the attention into yourself right now with a high-level coach to fix this ongoing problem that you've had since you were a kid, then what you are doing is you are unknowingly and unconsciously paying to keep the struggle. And I'll show you how you do that. And if you're like most people, you've never realized this, and you've thought that you were saving money by avoiding an investment in the solution that would really fix your problem. You think that you're saving money by avoiding getting the professional help you need. And how do you know you need professional help? Well, are you struggle free? All right. Are you binge eating? Are you emotional eating? Do you have eating disorders? Are you able to put food in your mouth only when physically hungry and stop putting food in your mouth when you're physically full? Are you living a healthy lifestyle without a struggle? If you're not living a healthy lifestyle without a struggle, and if you're battling with food addiction, emotional eating, binge eating, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, body hate, body shame, self-hatred, frustration, ongoing frustration, ongoing frustration, ongoing frustration, never getting to where you want to be, then maybe you need help. Do you think? Possibly, maybe possibly. It's really, really, really simple. If you're not getting the results that you want in your body and your life, then you need help to do it. And if you can't help yourself, then you need somebody to help you. And what's really interesting is that the addiction to the struggle can be so strong that you will continue to pay to stay in the struggle forever. If you don't wake up and get real with yourself right now and really look at your results. Your results never lie. All right? Look at the past 5 years. Look at the past 10 years. Look at the past 30 years. How many years have you been struggling with body image? with an unhealthy relationship with food, with low self-confidence, with a lack of belief in yourself, with stress eating, mindless eating, compulsive overeating, yo-yo dieting, binge eating, emotional eating, sugar addiction, negative inner voices, limiting beliefs, always getting in your own way, self-sabotage. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on. The multitude of problems that are part of the addiction that looks like it's a fat problem because you look in the mirror and you see a fat body and you think you have a fat problem. What you have is an inner self problem. If you were to invest in yourself to get that fixed, then you would see a thin, fit, healthy body in the mirror. Not immediately, but part of the addiction is that you want it immediately. Okay, that's part of the struggle. And so coming back around, there's a lot involved in this, and this is why no food diet has ever fixed this problem for you. This is why your New Year's resolution didn't work. This is why if you don't get help right now, okay, at the time of this recording, this is the February 2nd recording of 2017 of the JoLynn Braley Show. This is episode number 214, episode number 50 of Get Real, episode number 50. If you don't invest in yourself now to get the coaching you need with the right coach to fix this problem, 5 years from now, you'll still have the same problem, but it will be worse and you'll hate yourself more, and you can even be 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier. That's really easy to do. And you won't have what you want. Okay? And this is just how it is. Okay? This is a big get real moment here. And I can give you a specific example, and I'm going to change the name because this person has no idea that I'm talking about them. All right, and here's the story. Okay, so I started my online mind-body weight loss business in 2007. That was 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And I started writing, and I wrote a lot of articles. I had a blog, okay? I wasn't doing coaching yet. And then I started professionally coaching clients starting in 2009. I'd gotten some training, gotten some certifications. I knew what I was doing, but I'd also had a lifetime of experience with my own struggles and also trainings that I'd done in metaphysics, all kinds of things. So I started my professional coaching practice in 2009, and I offered people the chance to get on the phone with me on a complimentary weight loss discovery session, which is a one-on-one complimentary phone call. And I ask them questions. I find out if or how I can help them. And if I want to help them, if I think that they'd be a good fit for working with me in my proven step-by-step system, not everybody is a good fit. You know, I don't want to work with whiners and complainers and people who just want to find every reason to fail. All right, those people are not a good fit. Other people who are not a good fit are people who they will never make a decision to take action now. And so if they're still alive 30 years from now, they're still going to be struggling. Because when you decide not to make a decision to get help now, you're deciding to stay in the struggle. All right, so those people, I don't want to work with them because they would never follow my instructions. They're not a good fit. So then they never get results because they won't even, they're not coachable. Okay, that's the most politically correct way to say this. They're not coachable, okay? So the thing is that when I talk to people who qualify for a free phone call with me, all right, that right there, it's a $497 value right there to get on this one phone call with me. If I were going to charge for that, it'd be $497 minimum. So back to the story. I started offering these calls in 2009. There were people that I spoke to in 2009, and let's just single out one of them to make it easier to understand. And let's call this person Susie Q. And this is a real person, but I've changed the name. All right, so I talked to Susie Q in May of 2009. And Susie Q had been struggling for 30 years with out of control binge eating, also emotional eating, and she knew exactly how to lose weight, but she'd always gain it back. And at that time, she was 70 pounds overweight. She felt depressed. She felt sluggish. She was in a bad relationship, but she had a job that she was great at. She was professionally successful, so she had that one thing in her life that was going well for her. But the rest of it, she was very, very, very unhappy. Okay? She knew she needed help. She was crying about the fact that nothing that she had done had worked. She was complaining about the fact that she had been struggling for over 30 years with emotional eating, and nothing that she had done had fixed it. And she had never gotten professional coaching, and she'd absolutely never worked with an expert and a professional coach of my level and training. And she stayed on the phone with me for an hour. And that right there, like I said a few minutes ago, that is a $497 value right there. Okay? To be on the phone with me for that amount of time. And so I offered to help her. She knew she needed help, and guess what she did? She decided to stay on her own, to not invest in herself. She wanted to keep her money and keep her problems, and she actually thought that she could somehow figure it out on her own. And I know this sounds crazy. I know it sounds totally crazy. How could a person think that after a lifetime of struggling with a problem that they'd never been able to figure out and fix on their own, how could they possibly think that now they could suddenly do it? Without an action plan, without a coach, without a system, without a solution. And I asked her too, I said, well, okay, sure, it is your choice. Of course, everything is your decision. And that is what is so cool about living this life. Nobody is holding you back, and nobody can stop you from success. And of course, you need help to get the success that you want because you don't know how to do it on your own. And nobody can stop you from getting that help. But she was stopping herself. She was telling herself no. And I asked her, I said, so what are you going to do now? What is your action plan to fix this problem? How are you going to end your emotional eating now after this lifetime of struggle that you've been telling me about? And she said, I don't know. All right. So remember, this was back in 2009. Okay. This was 8 years ago. And this is a real person. Okay. And there's actually millions of people on the planet doing this to themselves right now. They think they're saving money, and they think they can figure it out on their own. Wait, they're paying to keep their problems. There is no free option here. You either pay to get the problem fixed, or you pay to keep it. You pay to keep what you've got. And there's no other way about it. By the way, if you wonder how I could possibly remember speaking to one person all those years ago, back in 2009, I didn't remember. The thing is that I have to keep notes when I speak to these folks on it's a complimentary weight loss discovery session call. And it's a big deal because it is really a $497 value, the call is, but I offer those for no charge, and it's only one call per person and per lifetime, because if I offer to help them, then okay, I've offered to help you and let's get going. And so I have to keep notes of who I've talked to. And then since this person we're talking about right here has come back 8 years later, and she just wanted to get back on the phone just to talk more. And she already said that she didn't want to actually hire me to coach her. So, it's like, well, then what could I possibly do to help this person? Obviously, there's nothing that I could do to help her. And unfortunately, yeah, she's been paying to keep her struggles all these years, all these 8 years. And, but hey, that is every person's choice to make, every person's decision to make. And when people decide that they can somehow figure it out on their own, even though they've been struggling a lifetime and they've never been able to figure it out, well, everybody could choose what they want to do. And that's really not any of my business, because everybody gets to run their own life. I'm just here to offer the solution, and the solution that works, and it does work. But like I've said so many times, and I say this often here on my podcast, I say, hey, the inner self diet, it works for everybody, but it does not work for those people who don't do it. Okay, so if you never do it, it's never going to work for you. And if you never heal the root of the problem, you'll just keep struggling, just like this lady that we're talking about here today, who 8 years later, she's still struggling, but now it's even worse. That's unfortunate, but that is what happens with these problems. If you don't fix it, then what do you think is going to happen? Is it just going to disappear? No, but that's what so many people fantasize about is, you just keep telling yourself, oh, I'll start again on Monday. And then 8 years later, you're 80 pounds heavier, and that Monday never came, So, yeah, you just have to make a decision what you want. Do you want to fix the problem? Yeah, great. How are you going to do it? What is your plan? Who's your coach? Where's your proven system? What are you doing to fix it? If you don't want to fix it, great. Take full responsibility for the fact that you're still paying to keep your problems, and be happy about that. Find a way to be happy about it. It's really that simple. Everything is your decision. And when you know that there's a way to fix it, that there's a way to actually live without the emotional eating, there's a way to live without the binge eating, there's a way to live without the self-sabotage, without the yo-yo dieting, there's a way to break free of all of this stuff so that you can just lose weight and keep it off. And when you know that there's a solution and you refuse to take it, well, that's your choice, and that is your responsibility, Here on Get Real, episode number 50 of the JoLynn Braley Show. Yeah, this is a real get real moment, isn't it? It sure is. And you gotta get real with yourself now if you're ever going to get new results in your life. Otherwise, you'll just keep doing what you've always done and keep getting more of the same. So back to this story here about our example today. Susie Q. She's been paying financially for 8 years to stay in the struggle, and now she is, instead of 70 pounds overweight, she's 150 pounds overweight 8 years later. The biggest way that she's been paying for 80 years is in the turmoil, the stress, and the emotional pain. Okay, that's priceless. And all of that frustration that she's been living with, it's not the same level as it was 8 years ago. It's compounded in interest. It's just horrific. It's horrible. And it doesn't mean that she's laying on the ground and she can't function, but it's just survival mode. It's not fun. And I mean, what's 150 minus 70? I have to figure that out. 150 minus 70 is, what is that, 80? Oh my God, is that 80 pounds? That's an extra 80 pounds. So that's an extra 10 pounds a year. And that's very realistic. Over the past 8 years, she's packed on an extra 10 pounds per year. Very doable. So she was 70 pounds overweight in 2009, refused my help, and never got help. But she's also been paying for Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and cleanses and diet books and prepackaged meals and protein bars, all this stuff, exercise equipment, but the problem was never fixed. All right. So the addiction, it makes you think that you are somehow getting away free or scot-free to avoid investing in yourself to get the coaching you need to fix this problem that's been plaguing you since you were a kid, 8 years old, 12 years old, however old you were when you first started struggling with the whole topic of food and weight. And the addiction tells you that you can do it on your own. The addiction tells you that, oh, you just need to buck up. Let's just start again on Monday. And the addiction will hold you where you are, and 11 months from now, December 31st, 2017, you'll be making another New Year's resolution to lose weight, and 2 weeks later, you'll be back in the same old grind, the same old struggle that you're in right now. And it's really interesting because you're not going to change by continuing to do what you've always done. And the addiction will tell you right now as you're listening to my voice, oh, well, JoLynn is only saying these things because she is a permanent weight loss coach and she wants me to hire her to fix my problem, and then that will help her business, and that's the only reason she's saying these things. Well, that's part of the addiction. That's part of the addiction. I'd love nothing better than to see everyone on the planet, and there are millions of people. The CDC states right now that it's, I don't have this right in front of me, but you can look it up online. The CDC statistics on the percentage of people in the United States over the age of 20 who are classified as either obese or overweight. And the last time I looked, it was like something like 72%. I would love nothing more than to see all of these people healed. Because if they were healed of this problem, that would mean that they would be free and they would have high self-esteem, they would have high self-confidence, and the whole planet would be a better place. But everyone has free will. And you are more than able and willing and welcome to stay in the struggle for the rest of your life and refuse help. Keep using money as an excuse. Keep telling yourself that you don't have time. Keep telling yourself that you can figure it out on your own. But just take a look at what are the results that you get when you take that path. Is it easy for you to live a healthy lifestyle? Is it easy for you to put food in your mouth only when you're physically hungry and stop putting food in your mouth when you're physically full? Do you feel absolutely fantastic about yourself? Do you have full self-confidence in yourself, in your ability to move through your life even when challenges come up? Are you able to move through challenges in your life without turning to food to try to feel better? Do you use food for fuel instead of for things that food is not even supposed to be meant for? Food is fuel. Food is energy. Do you have a healthy relationship with food? Are you free of emotional eating? Are you free of binge eating? Has the root of your overweight and overeating problems been healed and released? If you're like most people, you don't even know what the root is, and the addiction won't allow you to see it. Because something that you probably don't know is that the addiction thinks that is keeping you safe. And the addiction will just hold you where you are forever. constantly in turmoil, constantly struggling. And if that's what you want for yourself, then you've already got it. If you don't want that and you want to be free of the problem, don't be like Susie Q, who I told you about. Oh, did I finish that story? Okay, so Susie Q refused my help in 2009. 8 years later, she never got the problem fixed. Okay? She could have had it fixed in 2009. And now she's put on 10 pounds every year. So she's 150 pounds overweight now, which is very, very realistic. 10 pounds a year. That's very easy to do. And there is no getting out of this problem for free. You're either paying to get it fixed or you're paying to keep the problem. There's so many ways that you're paying. We talked about here on this Get Real episode here, you're paying with the food that's part of your addiction. You're also paying emotionally. You're paying physically. You're paying mentally. You're paying stress-wise. You're paying hormonally. All of the hormone issues that you can cause your body with all of the stress because of all of the frustration, because you can't just stick with a healthy eating plan and you already know what you need to do to lose weight, but you're not doing it. You're also paying by holding yourself back in your life, because these problems that you have with the food and the weight, when you're not able to fix them on your own, which obviously you're not able to fix them on your own, otherwise you wouldn't still be listening to my voice. You would have clicked off of this podcast a long time ago. But when you keep struggling with these same old, irritating, frustrating problems, then the problem actually creates more of a problem, because it actually creates lower self-esteem. It starts to erode any belief that you did have in yourself. It takes you even lower. It just keeps getting worse. So you're paying like that, and then when you have lower self-esteem and then your confidence is even lower, then you won't go for the promotion that you could go for. You won't go for the better job that you could go for. You won't open the business that you'd like to open because you don't believe in yourself. And then you go eat food to try to feel better because you don't believe in yourself, and then you feel worse, and then you look in the mirror and you don't like how you look, and then you go eat some more food to try to feel better, and then you feel worse, and then you don't believe in yourself, and then you don't go for it in your life, and then you're still paying. You're still paying. And you're losing, but not losing weight. You know, how much more money could you be making if you actually believed in yourself? All of this is part of the addiction. You think, just like everyone else, that you have an overweight problem and an overeating problem, but it's so much bigger than that. And this problem infiltrates every area of your life. And that's why when you get the problem fixed, every area of your life improves. It's really quite powerful. But, you know, you got to pay. You got to pay to get it fixed. Or you keep paying to keep the problem. You keep paying to keep the struggle. And the biggest payments you make, they're not even financial payments. They are the payments that you make emotionally, psychically, mentally, physically, self-esteem wise. Integrity. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about integrity. How your integrity erodes brick by brick by brick by brick by brick. Every time you tell yourself that I'm going to do it now, I'm going to do it now, I'm really going to stick with it, and then you don't. You know, how much failure can you take until you break? And then you just become one of these people that you see walking around in sweatpants because they just don't care anymore. And that's really sad, because you don't have to take that route. But it's your choice, you know. You could get the problem fixed or not. And isn't it cool that you are the only one who gets to choose. Isn't it cool that you are the only one who gets to choose the results in your life? And if you think that there's someone else who is causing the results that you have in your life, or if you think that someone else is making you be how you are, or causing you to overeat, or making you fat, or if you think that someone else is in control of your bank account or in control of your relationships, then that's a bigger problem. And that's also part of the addiction. And a lot of people, in fact, I'd say probably the majority of people who are struggling with food and weight, they are also in a victim mentality. And that's another problem that you probably aren't aware of and you don't want to look at. And it's another thing that coaching would heal for you if you work with the right coach. You know, coaching is the quickest and easiest way to get to the place that you want to go. If you want to lose weight and you want to keep it off, and you want to be free of the addiction, be free of the struggle, be free of the emotional eating, be free of the binge eating, coaching is the quickest and easiest way to get there. But you got to work with the right coach. You know, that goes without saying. It is time for a commercial break here on the JoLynn Braley Show. This week's sponsor of the JoLynn Braley Show is mypodcastbonus.com. When you go to www.mypodcastbonus.com, then you can sign up for my free 5-day e-course, which will help you learn a little bit more about the state of your mindset. It will help you discover whether or not your mindset is fit or fat. And, you know, a fat mindset is part of the problem. Yes, it's another part of the addiction. So you definitely don't want to keep a fat mindset. And when you get my free 5-day e-course, it will just help you discover more about where you're at right now and maybe possibly help you to see what your next step is if you really want to do something about it. And you can get that at www.mypodcastbonus.com. All right, well, today's episode here, like I warned you in the beginning, this was Get Real episode number 50 of the JoLynn Braley Show. And congratulate yourself that you're still listening. You know, a lot of people would not be able to stay on this podcast with themselves because the addiction is too strong for them and they don't want to look at their results. And they'll just keep struggling. They'll just keep spinning. They'll just keep doing what they're doing. And that's their choice, and that's cool. You know, not everybody wants help. Not everybody wants to fix their problems. A lot of people are more committed to the struggle than they are committed to finding a solution. The struggle gives them something to talk about. The struggle makes them feel important. The struggle makes them feel like they matter. You know, they're afraid to get the struggle fixed because they're afraid of who they'll be if they don't have that struggle. The struggle is their identity. And when the struggle is your identity, that's a big problem. Yeah. But hey, since you're still listening, that's something that you could take a look at. You know, in fact, you know what? I need to give you a couple questions to write down. Write these down pen on paper. There is a connection that occurs between the head, the hand, and the heart when you write pen on paper that you will never get if you only listen to my voice. Additionally, what happens when you write pen on paper is it forces you to focus on yourself. If you just stay in your head and you only listen to my voice, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, it's nice that you listen, but what happens? I mean, what's your outcome? What changes? So when you get pen and paper and you write down these couple of questions that I'm going to give you, then they can help you to gain more clarity and see if maybe possibly you will be moving forward so that you actually get this problem fixed in your life instead of staying stuck in the struggle. And wouldn't that be cool? How would you feel if you could break free of your overeating and overweight struggles so that it would just be no big deal for you to live a healthy lifestyle? How would you feel if that could be you? Wouldn't that be cool? All right, so first question to write down, and then write down the answer to, pen on paper. What are all of the specific ways that I am paying to keep my problems, keep the struggle, specifically the struggle with the food and the weight topic? What are all of the ways that I am paying to stay in the struggle? Another way you can look at this is what is it costing me? What is it costing me to keep struggling with this problem alone? And look at all of the areas and write it all down. Okay, there's 4 main areas in life. What is it costing you financially to keep struggling alone, to keep paying for this struggle, to keep your problems, whatever they are, if it's emotional eating, binge eating, yo-yo dieting, self-doubts, constant frustration, 50 pounds overweight, whatever the problems are. So what is it costing you financially? And it's not just about all the money that you're spending on the excess food to binge on, but it's also about what is it costing you financially, because if you could be free of this problem, imagine how fantastic you would feel about yourself. And if you felt that fantastic about yourself, what is it that you would be doing in your life that you're not doing now because you don't feel fantastic about yourself? You don't have the self-confidence. What would you be doing differently? What is the work that you'd be doing? What is the promotion that you'd ask for? What is the job that you would apply for if you had that stellar self-confidence that you know you would have if you were free of this food and weight addiction, this problem, this struggle? Do you get it? Does that make sense? Are you getting this? All right, so you write down on your paper all of the ways that you're paying, all of the costs. What is it costing you financially to keep this problem? And then the second area of life is family. And that has to do with all relationships. What's it costing you in your relationships to keep this problem that you have? And avoid getting help. Avoid fixing it. Avoid healing the root of it. Avoid hiring the coach that you need to heal the root of the problem. What's it costing you in all of your relationships? So this could be in your marriage. If you're married, I don't know who you are, but marriage, boyfriend, dating, children, parents. I know most binge eaters and emotional eaters have a problem with isolating, not having friends, and avoiding dating if they're single and they want to date but they don't. So there's a whole bag of costs and ways that you're paying in your relationships by keeping this problem. Okay, the third main area of life is fitness. Okay, that one's pretty obvious. What are all of the ways that you're paying to keep your struggle and avoid, because you're avoiding and you're resisting and you're refusing to invest in yourself to get coaching? So by doing that, What's it costing you? How are you paying fitness-wise to stay where you are, to keep struggling? And then the fourth main area is faith, spirituality. Not religion, but spirituality. How are you paying spiritually to keep your problems and keep the struggle while you avoid investing in yourself to fix it? This is going to take you some time. And why would you want to do this? To get real with yourself, to really take a look at what you've got going on and take full responsibility for your results. And maybe you'll get a shift. Maybe this will help you to see, God, you needed help yesterday. If you don't do this, then you'll just keep spinning in your head. And, and if you want to do that and you want to just stay as you are, that's cool. Isn't it great that you get to choose? Isn't it great? Okay, the second question, how would I feel about myself 6 months from now if I were free of this struggle? Let's take it further. Not just how would I feel about myself, but how would I look? What would I weigh? How would I be being on this planet 6 months from now if I could solve this problem now? Break free of the struggle now. Wouldn't that be cool? How easy would it be for you to lose weight if you could just end the struggle? And again, the struggle is whatever it is for you. Frustration, self-hate, body hate, inability to stop eating, constant self-doubts, feeling like you don't belong, isolation, hating how you look. It just goes on and on and on. So if 6 months from now, and I'm just picking 6 months because obviously, you're not going to just have these results by just listening to my voice. You have to do something to get those results. You got to get help to do that. You need accountability. You need a system. You need a coach who can objectively see what the problem is for you specifically. A coach who can see things that you can't even see because you can't see your own blind spots. So, what would life be like if you could break free of this problem? How cool would that be? Third question, what's my next step? What is my next step? And really, it depends on what you want. Actually, you know what? You need to put another question in here first, so it'll be 4 questions. The third question really needs to be, what do I want? What are the results that I want? What are the results that I want? What are the results that I want to have 6 months from now? What size do I want to be? How do I want to feel about myself? How do I want my general overall attitude to be day to day? And then the next question, the fourth question is, what's my next step to get these results? What is my next step to get these results? What am I going to pay for now? Am I going to keep paying for the struggle, or am I going to pay to fix the problem? There's no other way about it. You either pay to keep what you've got, or you pay to get something different. There's no free ride. that is a complete fallacy. It's a fantasy. It's really interesting, but it's another form of the addiction. It's another aspect of the addiction, thinking that you're getting off free, or that you're saving by avoiding paying to fix your problem. Well, let's say that you have a chipped tooth, a cracked tooth, and it's down to the root. You can pay in pain to keep that problem, or you could pay the dentist to get it fixed. But either way, you're paying. There's no free anything. So, you know what though, as I'm talking, and I'm going to wrap this up because this has become a very long podcast episode here. But, the reason that I did this for you today is because if you don't change, and if you don't get help to change now, you're just going to keep going as you are. And you'll end up feeling worse. You have to actually do something different to get different results in your life. There's no magic, oh, well, tomorrow I'll just be different. How does that work? And my intention, I hope that I helped you to wake up. And if I didn't, then you must have gotten something out of this podcast. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be listening to my voice. Right? So, the last thing that I want to say is that there are other problems that are part of the addiction. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are struggling with this food and weight thing who just don't believe in themselves, and they don't have the level of self-worth that they need to even believe that they deserve help. And unfortunately, that's another problem, because if you don't believe you deserve help, and you don't believe you deserve investing in yourself to have a better life, to have a better body, to have a better experience, to feel fantastic about yourself, if you don't believe that you deserve to invest in yourself to have these things because your self-worth is so low, then that's another problem. And maybe what you could do is just start with some little tiny baby step to start working on your self-worth. So what could that be? What would that be? Now, don't put the expectations on yourself that doing that is going to fix your food and weight problems, because that's just a baby step. But if the baby step would help you to do something to make some kind of a change, then that would be good, right? But you'd have to do it. You got to do it. So, yeah, it is quite a conundrum to be really stuck in this struggle. And it is very, very, very frustrating when you keep yourself there. I have been in struggles in my life, and I know how frustrating it feels. And I also know that the quickest and the easiest way I ever got out of those struggles was by hiring a coach. That was the fastest path for me to get out of the struggle that I was in. And yes, I had to invest in myself. You're not going to get the solutions and the help and the results that you crave by just thinking about it or wishing or hoping or praying. You've got to take action. You need to get professional coaching if you want to fix these problems fast, and then get on with your life. Stop paying for the struggle. Stop paying to keep the problem, and instead pay to have a better life. Pay to have the body you want. Pay to feel absolutely fantastic about yourself, because you will have fixed the problem that you've been struggling with since you were a kid. Does this make sense? Wouldn't that be cool? Do you get it? Are you getting this? If you don't get it, then you know what I want you to do? Is I want you to go over to the Facebook page that is specifically for this show, the JoLynn Braley Show, head on over to www.thejolynnbraleyshow.com. And if there's something that you don't understand about the fact that you're either paying to keep your problems or you're paying to solve them, if there's something you don't understand about that, if you're not getting this, if it's not making sense, then leave me a comment and tell me what your question is. And do that at www.thejolynnbraleyshow.com, which will take you over to my Facebook page for the show. Like the show's page and leave me that comment. Leave me your question, because I would be interested to hear if you're not getting it, if this doesn't make sense. Because I've tried to make it as simple as possible, because there is no in between. You either pay to keep what you've got or you pay to get it fixed. And that's it. And there's all kinds of ways that you're paying to keep your problems. And we already talked about that. Make sure that you get your pen and paper out. Do those questions and the answers. Write down the questions. Write down your answers. Why? Because give yourself the opportunity to get real with yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to open your eyes and really look at what you are creating and where you're headed in your life. Because if you don't do something radically different now, you're not going to have radically different results 6 months from now. It just won't happen. Hey, I'm JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of The Diet That Is Not a Diet, the Inner Self Diet, my proven proprietary step-by-step coaching system to struggle-free weight loss from the inside out. I've been doing this since 2009. It works every time. It is really freaking awesome. Remember that you can go over to www.mypodcastbonus.com. You can get my free 5-day e-course there. I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body.